Hey, I'm Cyclon, and with day 1 of Affliction being over and have been quite a ride, with a lot of crashes, skills not working, and Affliction just being whooping everybody asses, it has been, for me personally, a really lucky day 1. Now, I do need to mention, because it is only fair if I mention it, I did got a boost. I did got given the tamings and a heat shiver very early, which allowed me for an early cold conversion transition. So this helped me out quite a bit. However, I did got lucky divine drops basically like an hour later, so I could have transitioned it to it a little bit later. So overall, I would say this saved me like between 3 and 5 hours on day 1 of character progression. My Atlas progression has been going as a normal speed, but my character progression has been heavily accelerated at an early stage, allowing me to focus on other upgrades a bit earlier, meaning I had a way smoother progression than I thought be. But if you want to swap from Lightning Arrow to Cold Conversion Tornado Shot, I will be getting to that in a bit. I would just want to give first an overview. Overall, this has been working really great. I've been farming expedition with this, and if I don't accidentally put cold immunity on the expedition, it clears expedition really nicely. I've been doing my legions with this, and I am able to full clear the legions with the current Atlas tree, which I get to in a bit. It has the small legion nodes, but not the big ones, so this one is also feeling really great for legion. And I've been trying ultimatums, blight, or whatever other league mechanic I've seen to try to get a little bit extra currency. And I have to say, for ultimatum, even there, Wave 8, Wave 9 achieved very consistently. I did die then, but I got there at least, so this build even for there is really great. The league mechanic in itself, I'm barely dying, except I'm trying to go to a vendor, and I don't see that there are enemies there, and then the enemies kill me while I'm with the vendor view. This is basically my main death in Affliction mechanic, and then I die in the map a lot because the Affliction, the Wisp affected enemies are very overtuned currently, but there's already a hotfix for that for day 2, so we're gonna figure that out when we get there. Which, by the way, if you want to follow along, I will be live streaming day 2 just like day 1. Live stream day 1 went really well, I had a great time with chat, so if you want to follow along, I will be live once I uploaded this and the next video. But that's that. So, if you want to transition into this build because you've seen it works or you heard me say it works and you trust me, the way I will transition currently, if you are a Tri Elemental, get your tamings first, get a decent overall build, and get your progression. Now, once you got your tamings, get a Heat Shiver and get a Rim Thrower. Once you have your tamings, the Heat Shiver or the Rim Thrower, do the transition, and then very shortly after try to get the Ahanos Bite and a bow that has physical and cold damage, and then you should be feeling the same smoothness I'm feeling. Now, as a reminder, if you transition from Lightning Arrow into Tornado Shot, you would prefer to have 20 quality on your Tornado Shot, and you would prefer to not, or well, you want to have no pierce, you want to have ricochet, and you want to have either fork or chain on your Tornado Shot. Right now, fork feels better for me. And that's just a reminder. Now, let's talk about Affliction. Affliction, at least Ascendency, is really, really great for this build. Early on, we had Oaths of the Magi giving the movement speed for a 4 hour 30 campaign run, feeling very smooth, very, very good. And then once I got into maps, I got this Tincture even before crit swap, but before crit swap it was basically just better onslaught consistency, but after the crit swap, holy. So, this swirl node allows us to play a Tincture in our flask slot, which we then can just use like a flask, and then it's enabled. And once it's enabled, it applies on our weapon attacks. And with this node, the 2 flasks next to it have increased effectiveness and gain charges on hit. Not more than once a second, but this is enough. On bosses, the flask up time is great. On clearing, the flask up time is great. And also I had crit and evasion suffixes, so my survivability overall with only 3k health with those freezes and those evasion, I am at 91, almost at 92, I'm at 70 something %, so I'm really happy with how the build turned out. This setup is just really big, and once I get a taste of fate, it's gonna be even better. But Detect Evil, I love that node. It's exactly how I hoped it to be, exactly how I assumed it to be, and it just turned out so great. If you run a Legion with this, it highlights the uniques, the war hordes, the normal hordes, and the Surgeons. It highlights them only until you clear them, and then again after the star's end. So exactly how I hoped it'd be. And in the Affliction mechanic, it helps finding uniques, it helps finding rares, which means it helps finding encounters. And it's oh so great. I'm so happy with this note. I'm not going to put it away anytime soon. Now, one potential look ahead for the Oath of the Magi, for the Warden of the Magi. There is one note on these tinctures that I think is going to be really, really great. And that's this one. Now, it's going to be hella rare to get. At 83, 81, a rate of 20, when there are other rates of 500. But if you can get your hands on this, once you... Getting there is the hard part. Once you have it, it's almost free to projectiles. Having to been hit recently in a mapping build, where random projectiles and random enemies are going to just randomly hit you here and there, it will be so easy to get those 2 additional projectiles. So I'm very happy with this. I'm definitely going to be picking one up once I have the currency to afford one or find one myself. But that just as a look ahead. Oath of the Warden of the Magi looks just very, very good. Now, that much for the build. As for my personal progression, I've gotten very lucky day 1. I've gotten 6-link, I've gotten random unique drops, like I bought a yoke, and then a few hours later I got a second yoke, which I dropped, which I sold basically for the price I got in my first one. So I gotten my yoke basically dropped myself, just kind of first bought it, then sold it. Meh. I've gotten 6 links, I've gotten 3 War Divine drops, 2 being from Affliction, 1 being from a Wisp influenced rare, and the other one being from a rare in the Affliction League mechanic that was also a Vivid encounter. It was not a Vivid encounter, it was a Primal encounter. So the second one could be very well just a random drop, and the first one could have very well just been a random drop, but it got related to Affliction, so I'm going to contribute it to Affliction just because it sounds better. Also, overall, got a lot of chaos via chaos recipe that I converted early into divines and now have been growing on. I got like 1 for 50 chaos, 1 for 60 chaos, 2 for 80 chaos, and then I think I sold one thing that was about a divine, so I got that. So definitely can recommend chaos recipe to get your character going. It really helps a lot. I still need to finish mine and empty that tab. And then had also a few maps sold, but yeah, just overall really great. Tujin also of course helps quite a bit with getting your early currency going, your early sustain on the Warlords and alchemies going. Just really great league start. I really liked the choice I made on my passive tree. Going for Expedition first felt so good. The build works well with Expedition and I got quite a good amount of drops from Expedition, even some logbooks. So with that, let's take a look at the tree. Now, my tree here, this was what my goal was, and this is what I had at the end of day 1. Basically it's the same, I just already took the small Legion nodes, so that I have already a bit of Legion on my maps to tinker around and see if I can run it. Now, my next goal would have been this, however I will be trimming out the Delve nodes for now. I'm not quite yet at points and favorite slots, so I'm going to be running a makeshift Legion expedition with just rusted scarabs, getting a little bit more currency going, and once I have that little bit more currency, then I will be taking the rest of the nodes, the rest of the favorite slots, and I'm gonna be doing the high investments, or well, medium investments I guess, and going to farm up my headhunter. Now, all that being said, of course, if you have any questions, like I said, you can ask me live on Twitch, you can ask me in the comment section as usual, you can ask me on the Discord and the designated channel or via DM. I will try to answer as quickly as possible. With that, have a wonderful league, and I see you in the next video.